Hey there, Htown Wheelhouse here with Locked On Astros, and on this edition of Locked On Astros, I'm sitting down with Joe Record, the closer for the Sugar Land Space Cowboys. He's having an excellent season. He has 5 saves on the season, and he does have a couple blown saves, but those have turned into the wins. They ended up winning in the long run. I hope you enjoy this episode, talking to Joe Record, getting to know him, catching up with him since the last time we spoke down in Corpus when he was with the Hooks. So sit back and enjoy this interview, this close-up one-on-one with Joe Record.
Alvarez hits a high drive center field. Beerling's back. This game is turned upside down. There's the runner. Fly ball down the right field line. Tucker comes on. Kyle Tucker. This time they finish the job.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett Htown Wheelhouse Chancey.
Hey guys, welcome to a special edition. I've got Joe Record here from the Space Cowboys. If you remember, not too long ago, we interviewed him, and he was with the Corpus Christi Hooks.
That's right.
And Joe, it seems like this year you are enjoying some pretty good success on the mound. You have become the closer for the Space Cowboys. What's your time been like so far here at Sugar Land?
I love Sugar Land. It's a beautiful place. Love the team, love the coaching staff, and we get fans. We get good fans, so I love it here.
Yeah, it's awesome. Now, you know, there's heat in both places, Corpus and here.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it's a little bit hotter here because you don't have the breeze coming off the coast.
Yeah.
What's the heat? Has the heat tested you a little bit?
Oh, it tests you every day. Every day. Once it hits like June, we start stretching inside, and then we do our practice outside. So we get saved a little bit during stretch, but oh God, it's a hot one. I'm from California, so I'm not used to the humidity.
So you northern or Southern California?
Southern California.
Okay.
Orange County, close to Disneyland. That's what I
There
tell
you
people
go.
not from California.
No, I remember. I've been to San Diego a couple
Oh,
times and love it. I love the weather out there.
Yeah.
Humidity can be 85 during the day and like 40 at night.
Oh yeah, it's great.
So, well, let's get into this year, because last time we had spoken with you, I know back in 2021, you had taken on a role as starter with the Hooks, and we know anywhere in the system you can look. You can even look at the guys at the big league level, the Frambergs, the Luis Garcia, those guys, even Hunter Brown. They've all done kind of a hybrid or tandem starting role. When you were a starter, you weren't a full-fledged starter. You played a role with somebody else. Did y'all kind of piggyback each other? How did that work?
So there's no real full-time starters that year. I mean, we were all starters, but we would also tandem. My tandem was Hunter Brown, so I was usually the back end of that. Big prospect, you know. But yeah, we would match up, and it was a good year. And then I started transitioning to a reliever that year after I got concussed. So I got hit in the head during BP.
Oh wow!
And that put me out about a month. And so.
So is this a line drive?
Yeah. But
Okay.
Marty Costas.
Oh my gosh, that dude's
the big
a
strong guy. Yeah.
Wow.
One of my good friends too, and he felt so bad. I don't think he swung the bat that day again.
Really?
But yeah, I was right by the bucket, and we call it the pigtail, the net where everyone throws the balls into. I was about 10 feet behind it, and the line drive came right over, boom, fell to the ground.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I've never taken a line drive to the dome.
Don't do it.
But I remember, and this is just throwing to like 12-year-olds, but I
Yeah.
remember throwing BP, and for some reason, on one pitch, I was throwing and my arm was sticking out of the net.
Good, huh?
Oh, I had stitch marks on my forearm for about a week. I actually went, and the doctor said if the ball had hit me an inch lower, it would shatter my elbow.
Oh, I believe it.
I mean, a metal bat, you know, these 12-year-olds were actually pretty strong for 12. It was our all-star team.
Yeah.
So I remember that. But, you know, this year I've noticed, you know, like your most recent game, we talked before, you had the blown save, but the team still got the win.
Oh, yeah.
When you're a closer, what does your mentality have to be like? Because I know for a fan is like, okay, he gave up a save, he's not any good. Oh, he got a save, he's great. Like, it's the microcosm of the moment. How do you keep your mentality game in and game out, maybe coming off of a blown save or going into like a save where you just own the guys? Where's your mentality game to game with that?
You kind of have to wash it off. I mean, we play 162 games or whatever, so if you keep holding on to what happened in the past, it's going to affect how you feel that day on the mound. So what I do, I have a couple beers that night, take a shower, call my parents, and after that, erased. All emotional ties to what happened.
I love it. No, that's, that's a very professional approach because we actually interviewed Jackson Ryan whenever Facing Nolan came out.
Yeah.
Jackson is Nolan's grandson,
Yeah.
and I asked him what was Nolan's favorite moment in Major League Baseball, and he said, I don't know. He never talked about baseball when he came home.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like the same. I mean, some of the greatest athletes, Drew Brees.
Yeah.
His kids never knew whether they won or lost. Archie Manning. His kids didn't know he was on a terrible Saints team.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you've already got that mentality.
Kind of the same. So I went to UC Santa Barbara.
Okay.
And we ended up going to Omaha one year. And our rule with our friend group is after baseball, we don't talk about baseball. Like when we go back to our buddy's house, we start hanging out, we don't talk baseball. We'll talk like Major League Baseball, but we won't talk about our baseball. You know what I mean?
Check out Bird Dogs today. I'm telling you, if you go to birddogs.com/lockedonmlb, you won't be sad. They fit way better than regular shorts. They are not made with stiff, restricting cotton. They have fixed the issue of that. It's basically this cloud knit fabric that looks great. It looks like khaki. And just because you're sacrificing comfort, you're not sacrificing the look. These Bird Dogs feel great. I mean, I've been to 2 Astros games this week, and I've worn my Bird Dogs both times. Last week I went golfing. I wore my Bird Dogs. The night before that, I went out with friends. I wore my Bird Dogs. You know what? I was the best looking cat in town. That's right. So go to birddogs.com/lockedonmlb for a free Yeti-style tumbler with your order. That's right. birddogs.com/lockedonmlb for a free Yeti-style tumbler. You won't want to take your Bird Dogs off. We promise you. Check them out today. Yeah, exactly.
Just to give us like an escape. Sometimes you just need an escape.
So I had a kid a couple years ago on the mound. He was our best pitcher. He came in the back. He wasn't technically a closer, but he really was.
Good.
And he had like 2 straight walks, 8 straight balls. So I went out there, talked to him. I came back. Kid struck out the next 3 batters.
There you go.
And our head coach was like, "What'd you ask him?" I asked him what he's having for dinner.
That's a good one.
We started talking about chimichangas, and we started talking about, and totally. And what I learned with him was, as long as you can remove him from the moment mentally, that you can reset those things, because it's all about controlling things you can control, and that's what you're doing.
And what you're feeling and what you're thinking.
Because that next pitch is the most important.
Exactly. My dad, by the way, used to come up and say, "Hey, what'd you have for breakfast this morning?"
There you go.
In Little League. So similar stuff.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's interesting how that stuff you heard growing up still translates to today.
Oh, yeah.
Last time I was out here on the field, watching Coach Story hit fly balls.
Yeah.
I mean, those are things that people don't think that major league players, that professional baseball players, they don't do that because they're always so good at everything.
Oh, we do everything.
It's back to the basics.
Yeah. The guys up the tee. I mean, we still play catch like we did when we were 12.
Yeah.
Same stuff.
Because the mental aspect of the game, checking yourself, making sure you're not too ramped up, is really the name of the game. Now, I want to ask you about this.
Yeah.
All these new rules that have come into baseball. Baseball has really changed, and I believe you were one of the people yourself. We talked to Jonathan Sprinkle as well.
Yeah.
When all the rule changes were coming up, and I know there was a lot of dislike for the pitch clock, and I think even now, as much as I enjoy shorter games, I'm just going, that dude needs 5 more seconds. Help him out. Framber kind of came unraveled. I noticed in the game.
Yeah.
Well, how have you adjusted with the bigger bases, the pitch clock? Now the pitches can be challenged.
Yeah.
What does that do for you? Do you just you can't worry about that?
I mean, we have to play with it. We have to go out there, and everyone's playing by the same rules. So, we complained about the ABS. We still kind of complain, but it's we can't complain anymore.
Right.
But the rule that I don't like the most is the warm-up. You only get a certain amount of time for warm-up pitches. And that clock starts when you're coming out of the bullpen.
Wow.
Or even before, when you're warming up, throw your last pitch, that clock's gone.
Oh, okay.
So when you get to the mound, this year I've had times where I only had 3 warm-up pitches. That's
really
pretty normal, 3 to 4. And I think that could raise some injury rates and stuff. Because it's just warm-ups, Give us 8 pitches, and then during the game, you have the pitch clock.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have this rocking motion, kind of like, there's some guys in the majors.
Oh, yeah.
They pause, Johnny Cueto. I mean, you're going to go out there and get 8 pitches in pretty efficiently. And so that does make sense. I didn't realize. Now, I noticed last night, I was at the Astros game.
Yeah.
Literally, whenever they call for a pitching visit, the coach has got 30 seconds. It starts before he gets out of the dugout.
You're not going to see fat pitching coaches anymore. Let me tell you that.
Well, Dusty's pretty quick for the Astros.
Oh, so, yeah, Dusty's got some moves on him.
He shuffles his feet pretty good.
I mean, he's still athletic.
So making those adjustments, the game changing, you can't really do anything to change that. What for you is something that you feel like you've been working on, or maybe you've worked, I don't know if you can talk about your mechanics or pitches. Where have you progressed and how have you been able to improve to have the amount of success that you've had this year?
I changed my repertoire a little bit. I committed to a full cutter instead of like a fastball that kind of cut. So I committed to a full cutter, a sinker, the sweepy slider you're seeing going throughout baseball, and a curveball. And I've committed to those 4. And how I got those shapes, how I wanted them to, is with a lot of help from the Astros pitching coaches, a lot of teammates. And I went to Driveline this offseason, so that helped me hone in the movements and stuff with their high-speed cameras and the TrackMan. So,
yeah, Driveline's pretty popular.
It's pretty popular. It's expensive.
It's
pretty popular.
Yeah, I saw they're even trying to retool Dallas Keuchel right now.
Yeah.
I mean, they are.
I was there when he was.
They're put in the projects, and so now, tell me about that sweeper. Because we see that, and maybe a lot of fans, maybe like myself or people just watching the game, we see sweeper. And I think I made a comment. Now they're just making a pitch.
Yeah, so I got a DM from someone I know saying, "What the heck is a sweeper?" Just a new name for a slider. So think curveball.
Right.
I would say, if I had to explain to you, think curveball, and then think sideways curveball. Right, runs away from a right-handed hitter. So sliders have, like in the past, they've been a hard pitch that darts away. This is a slower pitch that just spins away, kind of like a frisbee.
Oh wow!
So it's different. It's a type of slider, but it's.
Thank you for watching this episode of Locked On Astros. It's brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. It's a great place to get paid quickly, and if you're a new customer to FanDuel, if you're new to FanDuel, let me tell you what they got going for you. It's great. You get a no-sweat first bet up to $2,500 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. I mean, look, baseball players strike out or get out 70% of the time. Why shouldn't you get rewarded when maybe you don't do something successful? That's okay. They want you coming back. Why? Because their payouts are immediate. They don't hold your money. You don't have to worry about that. It's safe. They've got promotions on a daily basis. And it's a secure app. It is the #1 sports book for playoff action, for regular season action, for whatever it is you're into sports betting wise. They are there to have fun with you. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and get the no sweat first bet up to $2,500. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel, it is the official betting partner, sports betting partner of the NBA. This episode is brought to you by Hooters. Do you need a place to hang out with your buddies and go watch the Astros dominate the competition? Well, Hooters is the place. Not only do they have great service, great food, but they have the world-famous Hooters girls. That's right. From Seabrook to Pasadena, from Pearland to Baytown, from Galveston to Stafford, from Humboldt to Katy to Sugar Land, all the way out to Webster, Hooters is somewhere to get. They got you covered. Let me tell you, Monday through Friday, they have happy hour from 2 to 7 and 10 p.m. to close. They have $3 Blue Moon drafts any day, $9.99 Michelob Ultra pitchers. Hooters is there to make you happy. They also have on Mondays, buy one, get one wings. Tuesdays, they have $9.99 burgers and fries. Wednesdays, buy one, get one boneless wings. I mean, I could go on and on and on. Thursdays, they have specials. On the weekends, kids eat free. So just go check out your local area Hooters. It's where the guys at Locked On Astros hang out. It's what we like to do when we're hanging out with our friends, watching the Astros on TV. So go check them out. If you give a hoot about the Astros, you'll hang out at Hooters.
A little harder to hit, depending on the pitcher.
Oh yeah, and it's amazing. Like we've seen JP Francis, he's been called up. It's amazing, and they say he has the ability to really hide the ball well.
He does. Yeah.
So, have you ever been a pitcher that they consider hides the ball well, or is the batter pretty much he can see it coming out of your hand?
I wouldn't say I don't know. You know, some hitters say I don't see you well. But when I play catch, I'm not the guy who like hides it behind my body,
right?
Like Shane Bieber or Yusuke Kikuchi, where they literally you don't see the ball until it comes out, like right by their ear. And JP's kind of like that. It's usually the shorter arm guys, and I'm a long arm guy, so I don't think I have that same sentiment of hiding the baseball.
So you talk about pitch shape. We hear that a lot. We hear spin rate.
Yeah.
How often does your pitch shape change, or are you just always trying to perfect it?
So it changes every single day. I mean,
interesting.
The pitch shapes, because we have a lot of technology that tracks our pitch shapes, and they track it to the inch, to the centimeter. And so if you're thinking about a human being throwing a pitch and they want it to move 20 inches to the left, it's not going to do that every time.
Okay.
You got to think about elements. You have to think about how the guy's feeling that day, fatigue, humidity, all that stuff. So it changes everywhere we go.
Exactly.
And every day.
Just like when you guys go to higher elevation
exactly.
places.
You lose a lot of movement. And so it's not the exact point that you want to keep going, like the same pitch. It's more of a general like circle of pitches, a circle of movement. And so you give yourself a little grace period, a little grace room for that.
So, recently, Ryan Presley's had a couple blown saves, and since you're a closer, you can probably speak to this. How important is it for fans watching the game to remember, to me, watching the closer perform, I'm not so much focused on the one game where maybe they give up hits and give up runs.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the whole body of work. How difficult is it, because you're in that moment, like you're the closer, you're the end.
Mm-hmm.
How difficult is it for those pitchers to stay in the moment, and should people be hypercritical, or should they kind of give a little bit of grace there? Because elements, humidity, temperature, everything changes every game.
Yeah. So like all the factors you just said, elements, all that. It's our job, no matter what the elements are, to get a save or to get outs. And that's how. And then I think fans should respect Ryan Presley for that. He's been doing this for so long, been so good at it. The fans have the right to say whatever they want.
Right.
But a real baseball fan would respect how long and how good he's been for so long, and he's still really one of the best closers in the league right now.
No, he is. I mean,
a couple bad outings. It's all right.
Well, I kind of equate it to, I guess, a kicker.
Yeah,
football.
Yeah, exactly.
A guy could have 50 field goals in a row.
He misses one.
And he needs to be cut from the team.
Yeah.
And even guys like Brian Abreu, who just has electric stuff.
Oh, really good.
Last night gives up like one or two hits, and I instantly think, what's wrong with Abreu? Because
but those hitters are really good. So those hitters are getting paid $10 million a year to hit you. So if you give up a hit, their job's to hit you, your job's to get them out. You can't be too upset. Just go on to the next hitter.
So I've got some quick hit questions, and these are just some questions that actually, before we get to that, I want to ask you about your catchers. You've got Barry Hill, and you've got Lee.
Yeah.
Two studs behind the plate. They're great in the dish. They're great when they hit.
Good arms.
They can play multiple positions.
Yeah.
But what is it, like how important is it for you to be in sync with your guy behind the plate as the pitcher?
It's very important, but the pitch comm does help a lot, because the pitch comm is way quicker than doing multiple signs or like night signs. Mm-hmm. So the pitch comm helps a lot, but it is very important to be in sync, because you're just in a groove, especially in the ninth inning or whatever. You just want to be one person, one mind.
And as a closer, of course, I'm not going to ask you to ask, who is your favorite or whatever. Do you literally, you have to go whoever's behind the plate, whether it was Salazar, whether it's Lee, whether it's no matter who's back there, you just you got the trust of your guy behind the plate.
Oh yeah, because I've thrown countless innings with them in bullpens and stuff. Because I played with each one last year. Played Luke in AA, Corey in AA, Sally in AA.
Right. And
then we moved on to AAA and did the same thing. And as my pitch repertoire changes and whatever, we talk throughout. So before a game, when Sally came down, he came to talk to me about, hey, what are we throwing? And he didn't even know I was throwing that day. So it's really cool. All these catchers come to us and try to learn us so we can be better in the game.
That's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, because it truly is kind of like they're your battery mates. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
They are going to battle with you. Y'all are game planning together. Hey, what did you see? Hey, look, we had this guy like jammed up on this, but he tanked it. Like, what do we do? Okay, I saw this, and so it's just really just information feeding off itself.
Yeah, and they care just as much. When I give up that home run, Corey feels it like how I feel.
Interesting.
It's the same because they're preparing just as much as we are to get that guy out.
And see, that's where I think a lot of people don't really look into that. They don't think about that human element of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted to ask you that before we got into some of our quick hit questions. These are just kind of fun questions
let's
to
see if I
to
can
ask.
do that.
Let's see. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you had to pick one position player right now on the Space Cowboys roster to take a mound for a save opportunity,
Oh.
who are you putting on the mound?
Ooh, that's tough. I have two people.
Okay.
Okay, Joe Perez. He got drafted, or he didn't get drafted from the Astros as a pitcher, but every other team wanted him as a pitcher because he throws 100.
What?
Joe Perez, yes.
Okay.
I think he could throw, if you give him a couple months, he could throw 100 right now.
Wow.
Corey Lee, too. I've
Really?
seen Corey Lee throw a couple fake bullpens. Like, just gets on there and throws a few. He has a good fastball. I think it was up to 94, and he had a cutter to go with it. So I think
The Astros scouting department, you listen to that?
They already know that. That's the backup plans, but they're not going to need it. They're
That's
not gonna
awesome.
Need that. But yeah.
Okay, that's really good. Now, if you weren't a pitcher, which position would you want to play, and where do you want Coach to put you in the lineup?
Yeah. So where do I want to play? Where do I think I'd be good at?
Well, give me the first one. Where do you want? Like if you
I want to be
had
a shortstop, man. I wanted to be Derek Jeter when I was a kid.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and lineup, put me third.
I like
Put me
that.
third. Yeah.
Sure RBI guy. There.
Yeah. Reality though. You want the reality?
Yeah.
I did hit 2 home runs though in batting practice one day.
Okay.
But reality, I'd probably be a bigger guy. I'd probably be a first. Maybe
Okay.
hide me in left.
Okay.
You know?
Kind of like a Reese Hoskins or Pete Alonso type.
Yeah. Oh, do not compare me to those guys. Maybe in wiffle ball. But yeah, maybe first, maybe bat. I mean, realistically, just 7th, 8th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, once you become a pitcher, your position days are over.
Oh, yeah.
Do you ever though get in hits? Go, man. I wonder if they're ever going to need me out there. You know.
Oh, so we think about it. But it's always the worst situations, though. It's either someone goes down with an injury, but these are real situations.
Yeah.
A couple guys go down with an injury. We already have a guy injured, and no one's left on the bench. We all talk about it in the bullpen. We're like, hey, who's the first guy out? Who's the first guy playing defense? And I don't think it's ever been me. I don't think I've ever been the first guy. I think I'm down the totem pole a little
But
bit.
you're in the depth chart though.
Yeah.
At least you're on the depth chart.
I have
right?
a chance to go in.
There you go.
Yeah.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Saying there's a little thing.